righty. All righty. You are looking live at Sold Out MetLife Stadium, where today the 16-0 and playoff-bound New York Giants are taking on the 0-16 Philadelphia Eagles. And why are the Philadelphia Eagles 0-16? Because they suck. They got smoked in the first round of the playoffs because they suck. The Philadelphia Eagles suck. Welcome to anybody out there at all. Going to spend a little bit of time with me here this evening. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you. If anybody's going to spend any time watching a replay of this, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It means the world to me. Thank you. I'm going to try to go about 30 minutes here tonight, shoot my mouth off for about 30 minutes. Anybody got anything to say, please feel free, fire away, throw it in the chat box. I usually try to check on the chat box every 5 or 10 minutes or so. So as soon as I see something in there, I try to respond to it as fast as I can. So please feel free and fire away. But also, seriously, instead of me just rambling on for half an hour, 45 minutes, or whatever it might wind up being, it's just nice to talk to another Giant fan. So please feel free, fire away. Before I get started, anybody who wants to help support my channel out, it would mean the absolute world to me. In the description box below, the very top link in the description box takes you to my membership page. I got 3 different membership levels. The first one's called the Saquon. The second one's called the Lawrence Taylor. And the third membership level I got is called the Gridiron. Each one's got their own perks to them. So if you want to help support my channel out, it would mean so much to me. And I thank you in advance. If you are subscribed to my channel, once again, thank you. I can use all the support I can get, guys. But if not, please go down below, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell icon. That way, next time I go live or if I put a video out, you'll be notified. That's free of charge. What do you got to lose, right? But if you are subscribed to my channel, thank you. And then, hold on. I can move the chair for my buddy Manny. Watch your head, buddy. Watch your head. Okay, Rena's here. We can continue. And finally, also a little ways down in the description box, there's 2 additional links. The top one's a Facebook link. I'll go over that in just a second. The one underneath it, it's a Twitter link. It's always been Twitter. I'm an old-time fart. I hate change. Get off and on. I'm one of those old-time farts, right? It's Twitter. It's always been Twitter. It'll be Twitter today. It'll be Twitter tomorrow. It'll be Twitter 10,000 years from now when I'm long gone. It's Twitter. Whatever letter of the alphabet Elon Musk wants to call it, that's on you, bro. I ain't calling it that. It's Twitter. Follow me on Twitter. I'll follow you back. That's an absolute promise. I try to put Giants-related stuff in my Twitter account every day. Right? And then the link just above it, as I mentioned, it's a Facebook link. Takes you to my Facebook group, and it's doing simply marvelous, might I add. We have over 7,800 members in the group. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. Basically, if I'm alive and breathing, and if I have internet access, there's stuff going in this group darn near 365. And not only do I put stuff in here, but members post stuff in here as well. So between me and the members, there's a ton, there's a boatload. There's an awful lot of New York Giants information going in this group every day. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. It's a Facebook group. Please join it. You won't be dissatisfied. I promise. I don't know what stuff said and done and out of the way with. Well, all right. Now, I saw this, and, one thing you got to, kind of almost, I mean, you like with Saquon, right? As far as seeing this a fair solution, something that you can maybe, something that's fair for Saquon. I saw this is from the New York Post. And this was something that you could probably, I mean, especially if you look at like what happened last year, right, with the running back market. I mean, the Giants came up with, I guess I came up with at least 1 or 2 offers for Saquon. And I guess it was the guaranteed money was probably the sticking point. But I mean, if you look at like what happened with some of these running backs that went elsewhere, like Sanders went from Philadelphia, was it Carolina, I think it was, and it was like $6.5 million, whatever it was. The market was not really, extraordinary for running backs, shall we say. And it's maybe something the Giants could even have done last year as well. Right. And I'm going to read the article, but I mean, it makes a lot of sense. But I mean, this, because, the Giants, I mean, not only do not want a franchise, it's another, as Shane says, it's another tool that they have at their disposal. And, it is what it is. That's one of the things that the owners, that the teams have at their disposal is a franchise tag. It keeps going up every year. You keep franchising tagging the same guy. Like if they franchise tag, just say once again, Saquon for the third year in a row, it's going to be like, I was like 14.5 million, whatever. It's going to keep going up. But, especially this season here, the Giants don't have a lot of cap money right now. There are a couple ways they have where they can certainly free up quite a bit of money, right? And which is something they might wind up doing, especially if they might have to restructure maybe Andrew Thomas's or Sexy Dexy's contract, like Mark Lewinsky go. A couple other guys they can do things like maybe they can restructure maybe Graham Gano's contract. There's different ways of doing things where they certainly could free up quite a bit more money. But as of right now, I mean, they only have a little over from Spot Track. All right, they have a little over $20 million salary cap. Your franchise tag Saquon, that's 12 point whatever, 12.1, 12.2, whatever, coming right out of there. Right. Now you're down to about $10 million. And then you got to sign your draft class, and that money's coming right out of there. So there's not a lot of flexibility. And so the Giants don't really want to. If they do want to bring in Saquon back, they don't want to be paying him $12 million this season. And Saquon, of course, doesn't want to be franchise tag once again. He wants, the long term. Although, and I get it, this, that, and the other thing. Although it is, $12 million guaranteed. It's let's not forget that. And I know it's. Woe is me. Where's my contract and blah, 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 and all that stuff. But, he had $10 million guaranteed last season. And if they franchise tagged him this year, it'd be another $12 million. So, I mean, I guess, I understand you didn't get your 4-year, $60 million with $40 million. I get it. But, if they franchise tag you again between last season and this season, you'll be making over $22 million. And if you're not happy with that, give me a call. I'll take the money. I'll take $22 million. If you don't want it, I'll take it. But I mean, it's something that might be fair to the Giants and fair to Saquon, right? Just let him test the waters, right? Let him see what the market holds for him. As I said, especially last season, right? I mean, his representation was probably a little off from what he thought his value was, maybe out there in the free world and all that and everything. So I think it's from the New York Post. There we go there. Yep, New York Post. So the guy here says, a solution for ending the Giants Saquon Barkley impasse, something that's fair. And once again, in case of Saquon and the Giants, the most complex of contract negotiations has the simplest solution. Giants should take Barkley at his word and let the free agent market determine his value. Right? Fair, right? With the handshake agreement that he will bring his best offer back to the table before signing elsewhere. Shake your hand, right? Because he wants to be a Giant. Go out there, see what he can get. Okay. Come on back. This is the best you can get. Okay, we'll match that. Okay? Or, at least we'll have the opportunity to match it. If not, go out there, and that's the best offer you can get. Well, you go there, and go get them, right? Put an end to the haggling over whether he is worth approximately $23 million guaranteed on a 3-year contract as the Giants offered at their max, or slightly more as Barkley sought per sources. That means no second franchise tag before the March 5th deadline to keep Barkley from negotiating with other teams. No debilitating $12.1 million charge on the Giants' salary cap. No more tension if sides cannot agree on a multi-year contract when they meet later this month. Right? Barkley said, I wouldn't be against that, Barkley told the Post when pitched the hypothetical scenario during an exclusive interview during the Super Bowl. He said, that's fair. As long as the Giants believe their 2-time NFL Man of the Year honoree, and that he is, let's not forget about that. Okay, so, Saquon is, he's a running back, this, that, and the other thing, but he's also a little more. Let's not forget that. He's a little bit more, okay, than just a running back for the New York Giants. Right. All right. As long as the Giants believe that their man, 2-time, the ultimate decision would still rest with Joe Shane and Brian Daboll in a pivotal year. Retain the best playmaker in the NFL's 3rd lowest scoring offense, or move on from a running back with an injury history who turned 27 years old Friday because analytics suggest a decline is coming. Well, I mean, this decline's coming sometime. Yeah. I mean, even Barry Sanders wouldn't be the same as he was, so they all decline sooner or later. But he missed time last year, but it was, I think, was it 3 games he missed? It was 1 injury, right? I mean, they had him for 14 games, I believe it was. Could be worse. He had 1 injury, right? I mean, I don't know, the way his, when he got rolled up on, right, and against the Cardinals, I'm not sure many running backs could come back from that, right? Or would be able to sustain that type of an injury and keep on playing, right? Barkley said, they know where I want to be. Ownership said that they want me to be a Giant for life. 2, last year we tried our best at the end. Business happened, and we didn't get it done. As I said, at the end of the year, Saquon had $10.1 million. Okay? He missed some time. He missed 3 days. He didn't miss no paychecks. Right? It's all guaranteed. Okay? Barkley is right about what he is worth. The Giants can match or top his best offer and manipulate the salary cap charge to less than the tag in 2024. And I mean, Shane, right? I mean, a lot of it is also, let's not forget, right? Shane's got his word. I mean, look what he did with Leonard Williams. He went over to Leonard, and pitched the offer. Hey, what do you think, Leonard? Or whatever, right? But and this would be huge, especially if Shane is going to wind up being a general manager, for the long term, right? His word is very, very important. You don't want to be going against your word. You want to shake Saquon's hand and say, look, right? Let the market determine your value. If you go out there, okay, hey, you want to be here. We, once again, my words coming out of my mouth, right? They have to mean something, right? It's going to mean, if I start going back on my words or lie or whatever, it's not good. All right, that stuff's going to get around the NFL, okay? Now, don't take Shane for his word. If he says one thing, he might mean something. No, he can't do that. The words coming out of, do you understand the words? The words coming out of his mouth have to mean something, right? Shake his hand and say, look, you go out there, right? And all we ask, let's see what you can get out there, okay? If you get whatever, 3 years, $35 million, $20 million guaranteed, bring it back. And, all we ask is, let's see if we can equal that, or maybe we can top it a little bit. Whatever, we'll see. We'll see what you go out and see what your value is. I mean, because we don't want to say, once again, we'll give you 3 years, $30 million, $20 million guaranteed. and you'd be like, no, that's not enough guaranteed. I want more than that. Blah, 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 blah. So now he's pissed off. Shane, there's tension once again. And then they put the franchise tag on it. So it's so instead of us doing that, right? You just go out there and the market will, right? See what your best what they got. Okay, and come back to us before you sign anything, right? And we'll see if we can either match it or top it. If not, you go there and sign it, right? I don't have a problem with that. Don't have a problem with that at all. Let's see. If Barkley's right about what he is worth, the Giants can match or top his best offer and manipulate the cap, right? Or let him walk. If Barkley is wrong, the Giants could re-sign him for less than imagined, right? So as I said, I'm sure the Giants wouldn't mind, as I said, like a 3-year deal getting out maybe after 2 years, right? And once again, Barkley can be like, I'm Saquon, but the bus, that and the other thing. I got to be worth at least $12 million a year. Then he goes out there, and it's like the best offer he gets is $9 million. He'd be like, his eyes are going to be open. Oh my God, I'm not worth 12 or 13. Oh, the best I got was $9 million a year, with $7 a year guaranteed or something, whatever. 6, you know what I mean? So it's not hard to work with. I know sources came out to try to make it seem like I'm greedy, but it's not even close to being like that. Barkley said, they know where my heart is. If it doesn't work out, I get it. Hey, it's not like football. My career is over. And that's another one of the things too. You know what I mean? A lot of the guys, they also have to realize too, is that, there is life after football. Obviously you try to make as much money as you can while you're playing, but once you keep your eyes on the going forward, stay focused on the future, all that. And even once your career's over with, you still can make money. It's not like, you got like Tony Romo. I forgot what he was making, but it was just it was almost like a ridiculous amount of money to call games. I think he's making more money to call a game than he was to play football. Same thing could be true of maybe a Saquon or something like that. There's ways to make money out there. As I said, there's ways to make more money after your football career is over with than you are when you were playing football. Right? So, and I understand. Hey, I want to make more money. It doesn't always happen, right? But I think that's very, very fair. I like that. Saquon, if you think you're worth if he, if he went out last year, they did the same thing to him last year. He won. A lot of it was obviously, of course, was the guaranteed money. It wasn't so much, he wants 14 a year. It's he wanted, I guess, I don't know, whatever he wanted. He wanted at least 10 million a year guaranteed, maybe. I don't know, what they were, what he was looking for. But his eyes might have been opened up, quite a bit. Because if Sanders was getting 6 or whatever, 6.5, whatever it was, obviously Saquon would be getting more than that. But I've been a heck of a lot more. He might have got maybe 8, maybe 9. So let's not forget, Saquon has got some more and more tread each year going by. Got more tread coming off the tires. He's not the 2018 Saquon, right? So he's not so much he's getting up there in age, but he's getting up there in seasons, so his touches and all that stuff and everything. So, I think that's a very fair solution. Shake the hands and go out there. All we ask, especially if you want to be here with us, we want you back. All we ask, you go out there, right? See what you can get, bring back your best offer, and just give us the opportunity to either match it or maybe we can, spice it up a little bit, right? I think that's fair. All right, and Xavier, Mr. Xavier McKinney, he wants to field the He, he wants to feel appreciated. He wants to feel the love, a.k.a. show me the money. I love the money. Show me the money. That's basically what I believe that the hidden words in there is what Xavier is saying. Xavier McKinney rants about wanting to be appreciated with free agency nearing. Oh, yeah. Xavier McKinney is adamant about his worth. Yep. And he's made it a mission to be paid as much. McKinney just completed the fourth and final season as his rookie contract with the Giants, and now the star safety is set to be an unrestricted free agent. Once again, it's something, not saying it's going to happen, but once again, it's something, the Giants, let's not forget, right, what they did in 2015, right, and then what they did with Xavier McKinney. Years later, 2020, second round, take a safety. As I said, unless they, I'm going to go over something too. Refers to a Bowen and his defense and what, bringing back McKinney could possibly mean. And the problem is as I said, the Giants only have so much funds to go around. Now they could bring him back, right? And, bring him back for whatever 3-year deal, whatever. Right. And, you get that cap friendly hit this season. The cap's going to go up next season. Next season, the Giants are going to have more money. So they can push a little bit of money down, the road. I'm saying, but, I don't know what, excuse me, his worth would be, we'll just say like 15 million, 13, 14. Well, let's see here. Let me, let's see what, let's see what Spot Track has. New York Giants salary cap. We go to Spot Track here. Guess I can read this one faster than over to cap. Let's see here. Xavier McKinney. Oh, wow. Okay. They got him at $10.5 million. Calculated market value. So, I'm sure Xavier, they got him at $10.4 million. They think it's market value. Let's see here. Length of contract 3.5 years. What the hell does that mean? 3.5 years. Average salary 11.8. Oh, 5 years, 52 million. They think. I don't know if somebody's going to sign, but okay, yeah. Oh no, I'm reading something else. Okay, Spot Track has him. Somebody signed him for a 5-year deal. I'm not so sure somebody's going to sign him for 5 years. But his average salary, they have him at about $10.5 million. That's what his calculated market value is, according to Spot Track. Yeah, that's a doable. That's as I said, especially if obviously it's not only the 10.4, but it's also what's the guaranteed money. That's a lot of time that's the sticking point. I think that's very fair. 10, 11 or so, maybe 12. But I said, if you can, get maybe a 4-year deal, get out maybe after 3, give a lot of money up front, give him a sign-in bonus, right? Give him some money up front, but get him that sign-in bonus, split the sign-in bonus up over the 4-year deal. That way, you say you're paying him $12 million a season. Just saying. You can take that cap hit this season down to whatever, 6, 7, somewhere around there, and that would be push a little money toward next year down to the future when the cap's going to go up. As you're going to see here in another article I'm going to read, in the Bowen defense, that may not be bad. It may not be a bad idea to bring him back. Have McKinney, who's still young. He's young. Pinnock, we got Javarius Owens. I guess it seems like they're bringing him along. He didn't suit up a whole ton last year, but we got Belton. As I said, we got Pinnock and McKinney. It may not be a bad dynamic duo back there, especially for a Bowen run defense. May not be bad. But McKinney said, I want to be appreciated every way for what I do and bring what I bring to the table as a player and as a leader. I've stood by myself 10 toes through the critics, sacrificing what those around me didn't want to or were afraid to for those same people. It's may not always have been beneficial for me, but it was for us. Don't let that go over your head. And I'd do it 10 times over again. McKinney, a Giant captain, was certainly a team player and sacrificed for those around him, playing as hybrid safety that often acted as a linebacker. Now, if you read, I mean, there's one article from G-Men HQ, may not be a bad idea. Xavier McKinney should be a priority for the Giants to resign for the new defensive coordinator, Shane Bowen. He would thrive in Shane Bowen's new defensive scheme. So we got Xavier McKinney is one of the best defensive players for the Giants. After being drafted with the number 36 pick in the 2020 draft, McKinney had some ups and downs. His first season was riddled with injuries. I mean, he broke, his foot? I think it was in early on. He missed like the first 5 or 6 games or whatever it was of the season. He said he's not seeing his first NFL snap until November of that season in 2020. But he was able to grab his first career interception in the last game of the campaign. In 2021, he exploded onto the scene with 5 interceptions, 10 passes deflected, and 90 tackles. Now, let's not forget the 2021 Patrick Graham. What was Patrick Graham, right? Let's drop back in coverage, right? Keep everything kind of in front of us. Let him complete the pass, run up, make the tackle, right? Let him have to go 13, 14, 15 plays down the field. Can they do that? It's not easy, especially if you throw a penalty in there, you throw a sack in there, you throw a whatever in there, a run that loses a yard or two or so, whatever. Throw that in there. It's kind of tough to have a 14, 15 play drive. A lot of them. It's pretty tough, especially if you're a sound defense. Now with Wink, it was a little bit different. Okay, so you got the Patrick Graham and you got the Wink. Their philosophy is a little different. But Bowen is more like the Patrick Graham, right? So in 2021, when he had a very good season, right? That was under former defensive coordinator Patrick Graham, who didn't return in 2022 under the new head coach Brian Daboll. Daboll elected to hire Wink Martindale, where McKinney's role changed drastically. Martindale's scheme is built on pressure and confusing quarterbacks through that, with blitzing being a common practice. McKinney went from blitzing just 10 times in his first 2 seasons to way more than that the past 2 campaigns, with a lot of time spent down in the box. Now, where he's at his best is where he can scan the field, right? He has everything in front of him. That's where he's at his best. With Wink Martindale out the door and Shane Bowen coming in, McKinney could see another stellar year like he had in 2021 if the Giants re-sign him. And just think, what he did last season, right? Playing every snap, right? Could you imagine what his numbers might possibly be if he were to play every snap, which once again is very difficult in today's NFL. But under Bowen, if he were to play almost all the snaps, think of the numbers he could quite possibly have if he were to be not held back or not put down into the box so much. It says in this article here, Xavier McKinney has to remain a Giant under Shane Bowen. Let's take a look at the numbers, specifically the 2021 campaign. In 1,134 total snaps that year, McKinney played 807, roughly 71% as a free safety. So about 3/4 of the snaps he spent playing a free safety, which is where he's at his best. The next highest position he played in 2021 was in the box at 148 snaps, which is only about 13% of the snaps. So under Graham, McKinney played that center field type of role. He was rarely asked to blitz. like he was with Martindale, allowing him to play the pass more and not have to worry so much about providing pressure. Hiring Shane Bowen should mean re-signing Xavier McKinney and letting him do what he does best, play the post, use his eyes, his instincts, and his awareness in angles and coverage, becoming an interception magnet like he was under Patrick Graham. Now let's take a look at McKinney's 2023, the past season, right? Under Wink Martindale, he played 100% of the defensive snaps, which equals to 1,231 snaps. Of those snaps, 464 were spent at 38%, basically half of what he did. It was 71% in 2021. Here it's 38% in 2023. So basically he spent about half the time, right, at the free safety. And he spent 32% of the time down in the box, which is almost, what did I say? Was it 13%? He spent, in 2021, he spent 13% of the snaps in the box. This past season was 32%. It's like 2.5 times spent in the box. That's more than double the amount of, in 2020, about 2.5 times. He also spent 82 snaps on the defensive line, almost 4 times the amount he had in 2021. So, so Wink had him, in the box a lot, right? Got in the tweet above, Dan Schneier mentions Kevin Byard as a safety who thrived under Bowen in Bowen's system. In the Byards, I think it is. 2021 Pro Bowl season under Bowen, he had 88 tackles, 13 pass deflections, 5 interceptions, and 1 sack. The next season, Byard under Bowen, he posted 108 tackles, 6 passes deflected, 4 interceptions. The Titans really had good defensive back play when Bowen was there, but Byard was the outlier. Byard, was a good safety for the Titans as well as McKinney is, unless they see Belton or Pinnock taking one of those roles and they let McKinney go, when they would wind up saving themselves some money. But as I said, let's not also forget, I'm not sure if the Giants would be going there in the second round, but the Giants could, or maybe in the third round, they pick up a safety. Right? We do have 5 of the top 107 picks. Right? And even if we don't pick a safety really high, say we take them in the 3rd round or the 4th round, like we'll pick 107, you'd be adding some depth, right? You'd have Javarius Owens, right? You'd have Pinnock, you'd have Belton, and then the person you drafted, so you're adding a little bit of quality depth there, right? Let's see. Although allowing McKinney to settle back into that role should be a talking point when contract discussions begin soon. Another reason why the Giants need to bring McKinney back is that he's only 24, and he'll be 25 by week 1. So he is young. He's played 4 seasons in the NFL, and right now, after his 4th season, he's only 24 years old. Come on. Holy cow. Right? He'll only be 25 years old this season. He could literally, if you sign him to a 4-year deal, and he would be 28 years. He'd played 2 contracts, 2 4-year contracts, and he'd only be 28 years old when the second one's old. He wouldn't even be 30 years old yet. He wouldn't even be, he wouldn't even be 29. He'd be only 28. All right. So also, with how Jason Pinnock stepped up in 2023 is only going to get better with another full season under his belt. Having a tandem of him and McKinney would be great to have in terms of continuity. Whether employing the cover 2 and allowing McKinney to take over half of the field, or a cover 1 and have McKinney scan the entire field, right? Just having him back there in general most of the time is going to give Bowen a nice piece to work with. Yeah. So, that's something. Obviously, once again, it's all, it's it's all about the numbers once again, right? Yeah. Do the Giants want to bring him back? You don't know. I mean, a lot of it's also, Shane and all, they have, how much money they want allocated to each position, right? If McKinney's not there and they don't bring somebody in who's, draft somebody high or whatever, they'll take maybe a little bit of a step back. But I mean, I'm saying, but they're looking at what they got, right? That we need a quarterback, we need another edge rusher, we need the offensive line, right? We need a dog of a wide receiver. We got so many other. They're going to cost some money. We're going to bring in a veteran backup in. We're going to draft where are we drafting the quarterback? Are we going to draft the quarterback? So, there's only so much money to be allocated. And, do the Giants want to dish out whatever to bring McKinney back? And I said they'll take a little step back if they were to let him go. But it is what it is. So we'll have to wait and see. Once again, I mean, you can almost say that, there's so many guys. I said, we're talking about Isaiah Simmons. We're going to bring him back. What are we doing with Barkley? What are we doing with McKinney? So, all right. But we have the good and the bad and the ugly or whatever about the Shane Bowen defense here. Seen this article. It's pretty cool. This is from Giants Country. The good, great, and ugly of the New York Giants defensive coordinator Shane Bowen's defense. The Wink Martindale era came to an abrupt end early this offseason for the New York Giants. Like his predecessors, Patrick Graham and James Bettcher. James Bettcher. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. His tenure only lasted 2 seasons with its fair share of successes and failures. Yeah, it was, basically, it was like, with Shermer, you had Bettcher. Right, I think with McAdoo, I think you had Spagnuolo, right? Then you had Shermer, you had James Bettcher come in. Then you had Joe Judge, you had Patrick Graham, right? And then the first 2 seasons with Daboll, you had Wink Martindale. So basically, it's like it's like if you go back to whatever with McAdoo, it's like every 2 years we're getting a new defensive coordinator in there. Head coach Brian Daboll selected former Titans defensive coordinator Shane Bowen to fill the all-important role, tasking Bowen with getting the Giants defense back to being among the top in the league in macro and micro statistical categories. Bowen was in charge of a solid defense in Tennessee, where there were areas where his defense excelled and others where there were questions about how much improvement Giant fans might expect in 2024. Let's look at the good, the great, and the ugly of the new defensive coordinator's scheme. Now, also, a lot of it also is you have to be, he might have had some struggles or whatever in certain areas at Tennessee, right? But you also have to look at some of the talent he had there. He had some talent in some certain areas, and maybe the place where he didn't have a ton of talent, okay, maybe that's might have been where they struggled at. It's kind of tough to put a bunch of, third stringers in there on defense and expect, okay, we have 11 third stringers in there. They wouldn't start for any other team in the NFL, but we got them. We're going to put them out there, and we're going to be the number 1 defense in the end. That's not happening. It helps to have, as they say, and especially in the college, right? I hear quite a bit. My Jimmies and Joes will beat bam, your. It's like 3D coming at you. Your X's and O's. Meaning, like, you hear a lot in college. I hear in college, like Alabama, right? They have, nothing but 5-star recruits and all this stuff. I love this. I really would love to see, Alabama with Nick Saban, give him nothing but like 1-star recruits. Let's see what you do. Let's see how good of a coach you are with that, Nick Saban. Win yourself a championship with that. Not happening. Okay. He's a good coach, did all this stuff and everything, right? But he needs those 4 and 5-star recruits. So I say, give him all 1-star, whatever, 2 stars or whatever. Give him the bottom of the barrel. All right, baby. You give them the worst of the worst. All right, brother. Take Alabama to a championship, brother. Not happening, right? So a lot of times, you hear, as I said, the Jimmies and Joes and all that stuff. I mean, a lot of it is like, like if Alabama goes up against somebody who's like good scheming, they're offense and they scheming guys and this and all that stuff and everything, really good, But at the end of the game, it winds up being Alabama winds up winning, and they always wind up saying, my Jimmies and Joes will beat your X's and O's. So you can draw and diagram this up and all that stuff, and I have the superior talented athletes, and my Jimmies and Joes are going to kick your butts, your X's and O's. Right. So, a lot of it's got to do with, as I said, just, keep in mind, and also keep in mind, too, where Bowens was coming from. He's coming from Tennessee. Tennessee, we're injured Titans. They were a couple of those seasons there, they were freaking totally decimated by injuries. Right. So, are we looking at the greatest defensive coordinator of all time? No. Are we going to be the greatest defense of all time? No. Are we going to be in the top 5 of every statistical category? No. Right? But it does help to have some talent out there. Right? Obviously, you got to have, knock on wood, you got to have a little lady luck on your side. The injuries, right? You got to have a little luck on your side. Okay? But it also helps to have some talent out there, too. Said you could put 11 of me out there. We're going to suck. Talent ain't there, right? There's only so much you can do. Okay. I said, look what Spagnuolo did. It's not fine, but he did some wonderful, wonderful things. But also, you got Chris Jones. But those cornerbacks. They were locking guys down there. The Skittle man, Ayuk and Deebo Samuels. Were they even in the Super Bowl? The Skittle man. What do you have? Did he have one catch or something? It's like So, but they got some good guys in the secondary, right? Some good talent, right? Yeah, it doesn't matter. You can be scheme this up and that up and all that stuff, but if you don't have good quality talented players out there, you can only expect so much. All right, but we start off with the run defense. Now, I was looking at this too. Also, the last time the Giants were inside the top 10 was in 2016. They had a top 10. Now, once again, right? They had a top 10 run defense as far as rushing yards given up per game. Okay, it was in 2020. Now, let's look who did they have, right? They had a much younger Leonard Williams. They had a sexy Dexy and had Dalvin Tomlinson. Nice three-headed monster right there. That was in 2020. They were number 10. Right, so Dalvin, you're not getting a bunch as far as the pass rush with him, but he's a fantastic athlete. I said, we had a younger Leonard Williams, Dexter Lawrence, and of course, we brought in Leonard Williams. We signed him, but we let Dalvin Tomlinson go. Unfortunately, I liked him a lot, but I said we had a nice 3 guys on the front. We don't really right now really have that. But then when we go back to 2016, okay, when we were number 3, it was 80-something yards per game we gave up. We were number 3. We had a very good defense, but let's who did we have? We had the front 4, right? We had Olivier Vernon, we had JPP, then we had the 2 H's, Snacks Harrison and Jonathan Hankins, right? Harrison and Hankins, H and H, right, in the middle. Then you had the 2 guys on the outside, right? Right, good front 4, good front 4. So it's tough to you're going to shut the run down just be top 5 in run defense and not really have any good players there. It's kind of tough. Okay. But his run defense, the rush defense has always been solid in Tennessee under Bowen. What you like about their run defense the most is how committed the players are to their run fits. It is much more difficult for backs to find creases in cutback lanes, and every player is filling the gap that they're supposed to fill. So, I mean, it's also, it's going to be a little give and take. It's like, but I'll tell you what, if we go from giving up, whatever, 120, 130 yards a game rushing, all of a sudden we're giving up 90. Okay, that's not bad. So you maybe a little give and take. Okay, we're a little maybe worse on the passing. Okay, that stinks, but we're not doing too bad with the run defense. Right? A little give and take there. A little give and take. It may seem simple or easy, but there are a lot of teams that struggle with run fits. The Giants have struggled with consistency in their run fits over the past few years. It has resulted in inconsistency in stopping the run, especially in critical situations. We don't have to, talk about, my goodness. The times the Eagles ran all over us. The great. Now, once again, you let them go up and down the field, obviously, which is not something ideal, but their red zone defense. The run defense is one of the reasons why Bowen's red zone defense is the best in the NFL, but it's not the only reason. One of the biggest reasons for Tennessee's success against offenses in the red zone is that it is more effective in confined spaces. The less room an offense has to work, the better Bowen's defense performs. Why? Because his defense is a meat and potatoes defense. They are not trying to surprise you. There are not a lot of exotics, but what they do is play assignment-driven football, and they key the ball well. Sometimes in the open field, that can lead to players being flat-footed in the secondary or the defensive line not generating pressure. However, in the red zone, getting beaten over the top is difficult, and there are many more defensive bodies around the ball to swarm. When everything starts getting to the red zone, everything starts getting more confined, right? Less spaces to throw the ball, right? What we got here? The ugly is, once again, the big play defense. The Titans' defense did not force many turnovers. That was another one of the things. Didn't force a lot of turnovers, especially through the air. They were dead last in the NFL in interceptions, which is another one of the reasons why it kind of goes hand in hand, whether we're talking about maybe trying to get maybe Xavier McKinney, right? Have a good, solid safety back there. Let him play either cover 2 or he'd be the lone soldier back there, but keep everything in front of him, right? Many do not understand that the scheme can play a big role in turnover numbers as well. Titans did not generate a ton of pressure up front because they are a staunch assignment-based defense. The defensive line often will not pin their ears back and go hunt the passer. Now, also a lot of other things. One of the other things too is that you won't see a lot of a Bowen defense. As you got the ends or whatever, like you got the quarterback here, you won't see the defensive end, the edge rusher running past them. They keep, they try to keep them in the pocket, right? They don't try to go around the tackle and come around, dip and dodge, dive, duck, dip and dodge, right? The 5 Ds of dodgeball, right? No, they try to keep everything in front of them, try to keep it confined, but for heard was, you don't see the edge rushers running past the quarterback a lot, right? The result will normally be flat-footed defenders getting run by and defensive linemen just a step away from the quarterback when he pulled the trigger. While some of this responsibility lands on the players to make plays, once again, the better player, the better the athletes and players you have or whatever on the defense, the better you're going to do, right? When often happens throughout the season, we are forced to look at the defensive scheme and overall philosophy as a reason for surrendering so many explosive plays. It could be a result of Bowens shaping the defense around his players and therefore leaving them vulnerable to big plays if the offense made them. Or it could be a little flaw in the scheme that offenses were just able to exploit. Either way, it will be something he needs to clean up in New York. And then we have final thoughts. All eyes will be on the coaching staff when on-field activities begin for the Giants. Not only are there questions about the offense, but the things will seemingly head in a new positive direction for the defense. The pressure will be on Bowen to sustain what Martindale began and take it to the next level. But they run, different types of, they're different. So, but, one thing that should improve without question, hopefully, will be the run defense, because on the Wink Martindale, right? The run defense was rather pathetic. Even when you had like a Leonard Williams there, you had Sexy Dexy there, and you had like a Micah McFadden and a Bobby Okereke behind them, right? And all that. The run defense was still not very good. It should accept, so we might obviously, take a step back in certain areas, but in certain areas we should be better. But once again, a lot of it has to do with the athletes that you have on the field, right? And if you don't re-sign Xavier McKinney, you're taking a step backwards. Bowen was not an early hire. It's been long believed that the Giants' first choice was former Baltimore Ravens defensive back coach Denard Wilson, who eventually was named as Bowen's replacement in Tennessee. Meanwhile, there was a delay with the Giants hiring Bowen, who initially received permission to interview with the Giants before the Titans reportedly decided to refuse to relinquish their rights to his services. At the same time, new head coach Brian Callahan filled out his staff with newcomers and holdovers. Regardless of what happened or why, the deciding factors for the defense under new leadership will be the ability to rush the passer and tackle, two things that the team did not do consistently in 2023. Yeah, we did, we're not, Kayvon had, obviously had his numbers, right? But, other than that, we did not have a ton of sacks, right? Once again, we didn't have a ton of sacks, but we had a boatload of turnovers. The run defense wasn't, stunk with Wink, but we had, positives in other areas. So it's going to be good and bad. As I said, certainly one thing without question, the run defense should certainly be better, and the red zone defense should be good. So if they do get down the field, right, it'll be harder for them to score touchdowns. They might want to be settling for field goals, which would be, for the Giants, who don't score a lot of points, would be ideal. So, as I said, look for some good and some bad. But as I said, once again, let's not forget that, the Jimmies and Joes on the field is huge. Now we're going to be losing Adoree Jackson. We bringing back Isaiah Simmons. We just obviously, we traded away Leonard Williams. We may not be bringing back, obviously, Xavier McKinney. Yeah, so we're losing some talented guys, right? Azeez Ojulari will be back, but, what can you expect from him? Yeah, so, we certainly have some building blocks without question. Darnay Holmes may not be back. So we have some building blocks. Okay. But we need to keep adding to it. Right. We need to keep adding to it. And it's difficult because when you add one good piece and then somebody else leaves, we add this guy too. Okay. So this guy, defensive guy, is another building block. So we added one, but then we just lost Xavier McKinney. So it's, and I'm not so sure, if this draft coming up here is going to be a star-studded defensive draft for the Giants, especially maybe early on. I can see maybe them adding some defensive player, maybe, but where we drafting a quarterback at, I'd be hard pressed that we're not going to draft an offensive lineman, in the first 3 rounds. I mean, if that don't happen, I'd be shocked. I'd be shocked if we don't draft a wide receiver in the first 2 or 3 rounds. You could certainly see him making a case for maybe not day 1, but maybe a day 2 quarterback picked. So I can see quite a few of these early draft picks, maybe 3 out of the first 4, maybe the first 3 or whatever being allocated to the offensive side of the ball. So, but once again, we need help everywhere. So it is what it is. And then finally, once again, is there deep or was there some tension? Which I don't know, between Kafka and Daboll. Well, somewhere along the line, sooner or later, not sooner or later, but I mean, one of these days, you certainly know that Kafka will be, going elsewhere. It's just a matter of time. But it's just, once again, you hate to hear also, that tension. I mean, there was tension between Wink Martindale and Daboll. Now there was tension between Kafka maybe and Daboll. And you could see on the sideline that, especially in that preseason game against the Lions when they returned the punt back for a touchdown. I mean, McGahee walked past Daboll, and if bullets could come out of Daboll's eyeballs, McGahee would have been dead right there on the sideline. His head would have been blown right off his head. Right? I mean, he's like, so somewhere along, hopefully, as I say, because when we were 9-7-1, there were some bad things, but 9-7-1, but when things start going bad and all, it's I'll have to hopefully some isolated incidences, and hopefully Daboll is able to keep some of his emotions under control a little bit better. So NFL insider Connor Hughes of SNY explained that there was absolutely tension between New York Giants head coach Brian Daboll and offensive coordinator Mike Kafka that nearly resulted in him leaving the organization this past winter. The idea that there wasn't is comical, Hughes says. Kafka had his play calling revoked at points last season, scapegoating him for the unit's problems. He was open to leaving. Wow. Maybe even more than that, I was told. The Giants prevented it. They were never going to let him leave for a lateral position. While it was suggested as far back as November that Daboll and then New York defensive coordinator Don Wink Martindale were having issues that led to him leaving the club in January, some were surprised to learn after Week 18 that Kafka could also have interest in joining a different team this offseason. The Giants parted ways with special teams coordinator Thomas McGahee, among others, but Big Blue blocked the Seattle Seahawks from interviewing Kafka regarding their offensive coordinator role, which would have been a lateral move. Replacing all 3 coordinators in one offseason is a major undertaking when the preference is to not have Daboll call the plays, Hughes continued. Remember, too, there could be changes if things go poorly again this year. The Giants need as much continuity as they can to try to return to their 2022 play. The Giants recently confirmed that Kafka will have assistant head coach duties added to his role as offensive coordinator, according to Ryan Chichester of Audacity. Giants legend and current CBS Sports NFL analyst Tiki Barber said last week such a move could ultimately result in Kafka heading elsewhere as soon as next January. The promotion or added job title comes with a pay boost, Hughes noted. Oh, darn well should. That's commonplace in the NFL. A team prevents you from leaving but gives you extra money in response. To view that as a sign all is A-OK between the two in Giants land is silly. The Giants going 6-11 this past season, coupled with whatever did or didn't occur between Daboll and his coordinators over the past 2 years, seemingly could cause team co-owner John Mara to clean house if New York produces a second straight losing campaign. Well, I don't know if he's going to be cleaning house, but Daboll's 2023 squad simply didn't win enough for the 48-year-old to allegedly showcase a madman demeanor on game days. Also you look at it too, it's kind of like, remember Coughlin, he came in and a lot of people hated him, right? Strahan, and, he was told, I think even Michael and all that, told him, like, hey, right? We'll meet you 50-50, right? Just calm down a little bit, right? We'll meet you, right? Just kind of, and so somewhere along the line, obviously if this keeps up and tension and all, there's another problem. We wind up losing to Kafka and stuff like, Shane might have to, or Mara might, or whatever. Hey, Brian, man, you gotta, I know, I get it. I'm pissed off too. We suck, right? But you got to calm down. We can't be bringing these guys in and having them and losing them because of you. You can't do that. So I'll be interested to see. It's probably just a matter of time before, Kafka winds up, obviously getting a new position somewhere. Apparently, I think from reading, I think this is his last season of his contract. I think so. We'll have to wait and see. But we can't keep bringing in a coordinator. If things start going bad with our defense, what are we gonna do? Bowen could just winds up leaving, right, after a year or two, and we got to bring somebody else in now. Yeah, that's not a good way to. You can't be changing coordinators and coaches and GMs every 2 seasons. That's not a winning formula, as we found out. Right, as I said, because I've said this before, if you go back from 2014 to 2023, that's 10 seasons. Okay, we've had 5 coaches in 10 seasons. We've had one playoff win. We've had 2 playoff appearances in 10 seasons. We've had 1 playoff win in 10 seasons. From 2014 to 2023, 10 seasons, we've had 5 coaches. 2014 and 15, we had Coughlin. 16 and 17, McAdoo, right? 18 and 19, Shermer. 2021, Judge. 22-23, Daboll. Now, of course, this season coming up will be Daboll's 3rd season. But, we've had 5 coaches in 10 seasons, and we've won 1 playoff game. And we've had 3 GMs, right, with Reese, Gettleman, and now Shane. We've had, a bunch of defensive coordinators, offensive coordinators. It's not a good. It's not a recipe for success. Let me tell you what. The best recipe is long sustained. Drafting guys, bringing your guys in, developing your guys, keeping your guys, paying your guy. Right? You don't have to go out in free agency. A lot. You want to bring in maybe 1 or 2 guys. To help the team, but the best way to do is draft, develop, keep it going that way. So, but something to keep an eye on. Hopefully, plus also it's without being ridiculous, it's not healthy for you either. Just getting all But once again, football is a very, very emotional game. Very emotional game. You pour your heart out for whatever 6 days in a row. You spill your guts out, and you spend all this time and scheming and watching film and all this stuff, and and it comes on Sunday and it just goes all the heck. It's like I can certainly see, obviously where it's very, very emotional, very emotional. But all right, guys, it's been 1 hour and 3 minutes. Whoever spent any time listening to me live, thank you. Or if anybody's going to spend any time watching the replay, just once again, thank you so much for the bottom of my heart. It means the world to me. And as always, you guys stay safe out there. Go Giants! Woo! Oh, yeah.